It's been a while since YouTube completely gave up on making rewinds, clearly because they're embarrassed by the fact that the most disliked video on YouTube is by YouTube themselves, surpassing Baby by Justin Bieber. It's not really a bad song, especially the new version years after he went through puberty. Now that's what I call a natural improvement. Now as I was saying, YouTube Rewind 2018 was so bad that Pewds had to make a new version, collabing with some famous meme tubers, after he wasn't even featured in the Rewind, despite a huge event happening between him and T-Series at the time. But he was somewhat featured in the following Rewind in 2019, although technically he wasn't. No one was, as it was basically a lazy-ass top 10 video. Then the pandemic happened and no Rewind could have been made, although it would have been possible using Zoom or whatnot, before the whole thing was cancelled in 2021. Since then, people have been making fan rewinds using the most popular phenomena and memes of the year. This channel right here, for example, no name, but banger content. Now that 2025 is nearly coming to an end, although really it felt like 5 months have passed, I'm celebrating the year's end by not making a rewind cause I have no Vegas yet. Instead, I'll be talking about whatever the hell this is. So recently, if you go to the U section of YouTube, you're immediately greeted with this thing, as of the time I'm making this video. Now this thing right here isn't anything new, they've been doing this for years, but mostly for YouTube music. Now look, I've been listening to a shit ton of songs in the background while I'm making videos or doing some other shit, like working on school assignments or playing video games on my PC, which I rarely do nowadays. So I do get YouTube music recaps quite often, but it's full of rather older songs as I don't like today's pop that much. Now, this is being advertised as a new thing, as this recap right here is about all the shit you've watched on YouTube this year. Yeah, rather than doing a proper rewind, really cool. In a nutshell, it's basically a knockoff of Spotify's Wrapped thing, which has been around for almost a decade. God damn, I feel old as fuck. Also, I know it's unrelated, but I'm turning 20 next month. Like, what the hell? And oh yeah, using this whole recap thing, does this mean we get to create our own rewind? Okay, so how were YouTube rewinds back then? In my opinion, the early 2010s, barely watched them. 2014, pretty cool. 2015 and 2016, absolute fucking bangers. 2017, however, wasn't that enjoyable, but pretty good nonetheless. It all goes downhill in 2018 though. Oh boy, where the hell do I even begin with this pile of garbage? Not only did they not include PewDiePie, who was literally involved in one of the biggest YouTube events that year, but they included some shit a bit too late. What is Big Shaq doing here? He was a thing from 2017. He should have been in the 2017 rewind instead. Also, while I do appreciate the inclusion of foreign YouTubers that are popular in their countries, it's still confusing as to why the hell they weren't introduced by YouTube to begin with. Let's give the people what they want. The most disliked video on YouTube, that's exactly what we wanted. The following year, YouTube tried again, this time trying to show us what we did like. And it was terrible. It's literally a fucking top 10 style video that desperately tried being better. But what's worse is knowing that we basically made YouTube completely give up rewind altogether through this. I mean, it's not really our fault that they couldn't make a good rewind anymore. Anyways, back to the whole recap thing. By this point, YouTube basically gave up on anything creative and just started to copy other platforms. TikTok? Nah, you got YouTube Shorts. Instagram or Twitter? What you talking about? There's the community tab. Moderation system? Let's imitate Roblox. What could possibly go wrong? Maybe someday I could get terminated out of thin air for doing literally nothing. Absolutely cool. More like abysmal dog shit. Damn it, I went out of the point again. So where can I find my recap? As I've said, it's literally on the U section of your profile. Easy. Wait, what? You want to see my recap? I would have shown you my Spotify Wrapped if I even use that platform frequently. But anyways, without any further ado... So this is how the recap starts. Wait, what? AI can make mistakes? AI made this? Well, it's a relief that they gave up doing rewind. Imagine AI making YouTube rewind. Ugh, that'll be fucking disgusting. And oh yeah, there's no pause button, so you have to hold the damn thing if you want to see one thing at a time for a bit longer. The next slide, if you can even call it that, as the whole thing feels like a bland PowerPoint presentation, shows the topics you've explored. Okay, what's next? Oh, my top interests. The top one is pretty hilarious though, you can even download it by the way. This is then followed by the amount of channels you've watched. 2,215 channels, 6 times the average viewer. Holy shit, I don't even know how I managed to even do that. And then... just seriously, don't ask me why Darman is on the top. No wonder my brain cells are dead. Next slide. Again, don't ask me why. I don't know either. Then another boring PowerPoint slide. And then... oh goddamn, even I'm here. This shows early 2025. The next one shows mid 2025 when I apparently watched a lot of cooking content. I just love watching this dude, don't know why. And that recipe? You mean that AI voice content farm channel? Why is it even here? I watched this future Kano clone making fun of them more. Then late 2025 came along and I'm here again. Don't know how Mura got in there as he has been in some controversy lately and that was the point I started watching his content less often. And after this, it'll show you the songs you've listened to often this year. Okay, look, I like African pop, okay? They got some great bangers over there. Also, Gaddafi's song at the bottom for some reason. I'm not really that political or anything, but I just happen to find many propaganda songs to be amazing. Better than Taylor Swift. Anyways, it then shows your top artists. Shout out to Ghana for really cool music.
That's it?
So then again, despite the kind of clickbait title, in that case I apologize, I wouldn't call it YouTube Rewind Successor. Both are completely different things that somewhat function differently. In my opinion, nothing can replace the good old YouTube Rewind, which would have been kept alive if YouTube knew a thing or two about making a good one since 2017. But hey, everyone needs a year recap after all, without all the cringe moments that is. YouTube Recap is basically just a knockoff of Spotify's Wrapped, except using all the shit you've watched. YouTube Rewind, on the other hand, is basically the highlights and trends of the year featuring the most popular YouTubers. So I wouldn't really see Recap in the same light, or rather it's basically a lazy-ass replacement. This would mean that outside of stats, it's hard to know who the biggest YouTubers in this era are. Somehow I could even be one in the future if I have a whole Wikipedia article about my channel. Like, come on, I'm not gonna be Wikipedia worthy either way. Unlike Rewind though, Recap does not spark joy, at least in my opinion. It felt like a lazy-ass PowerPoint presentation with barely any soul whatsoever. At least the motion graphics are kinda cool, but honestly, YouTube should stop copying other platforms and instead really emphasize on the you again like they did before. I'm not saying they should scrap this whole thing, but as the year is almost ending, shouldn't they do something more interesting instead? Oh, and by the way, after this I would be releasing a rather special video later on. Actually, never mind, it's not that special anyways, but it's rather about a more significant phenomenon that has been happening worldwide. After that, I'm quitting YouTube. Until next year, that is. Anyways, that's all for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys when I have the opportunity to do so. And as always, peace.